Hello everybody, it is Saturday, April 2, and today I'm actually going to be replacing the ignition lock cylinder here on a 1995 Subaru Legacy. This here is kind of worn out, and it's I got this car a few weeks ago with one single original key, so seeing as how I didn't want that that one key, which is already really on the worn out side, to get even worse, I used it to have some duplicates made. Now, all of them, including the original, just kind of don't work really well here in the ignition. They work fine in the door locks, but there it went in pretty easy and turned. But it's actually really hard, if not impossible, to get this out. Now, I had the car in for tires and alignment a few weeks ago, and the gorilla who drove it into the shop there, and I use that term just because the guy was just really rough with everything, absolutely handling everything in the car like King Kong. He gets it into the shop and he can't get the key out. He goes to the waiting room. He says, "Do you ever have a problem with this key?" And I said, "Well, no." He said, "Well, yeah, it's stuck in there." So I get out to the shop. He brings me out into the shop, and sure enough, the key is just hopelessly jammed in there. I mean, he'd pushed it in as far as he could, turned it as hard as he could, and screwed up the ignition lock cylinder even worse than it was. So I eventually was able to get it free there, and I got my tires on alignment and got out of there. But over this past week, it's just been really hard to get the key out. And I've a couple of times I parked the car going somewhere and would spend a good 5 minutes in the car just trying to get the key out so I could go somewhere. And now it's to the point where, in order to get the key out, of course, you turn it back, and you're supposed to push it in, and then make the final turn and remove it. Well, you can't push it in anymore. There's something in here that's just completely worn out now or broken. And a couple of days ago, I figured out that if you take a pin here and you push in lightly on the cylinder lock from this side, it releases pretty easy. Still, I don't want to deal with that. So what I did was I ordered a brand new ignition lock cylinder. This wasn't expensive. I was able to find one for about $20. It looks to be an original piece there. And I already got, it came with, although the box doesn't say it's an original part, it looks like it to me, especially since it comes with the two brand new keys it came with are already marked as official Subaru keys. So I'm thinking that maybe this is an original part somehow in an aftermarket box. I'm not sure really how the parts industry works, but that's my theory at the moment. So I'm going to be replacing this part today. And as you can see here, these, I don't know if you can get a look at that, but the key blanks actually say Subaru. And this is one of the two duplicates I already had made. I took the whole thing with the whole ignition lock cylinder with the keys to the locksmith, had the new key made, and then right there in the locksmith shop I tested it, and the new key works just fine. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to disconnect the battery, and then I'm going to pull off the covers here. And although the manual says there's you have to remove some shear bolts and other things and whatnot, I've actually heard that you can just bend a stiff wire pin, hit the release, and this part will come out pretty easy. So I'm going to give that a try today. Hopefully it's not that big a deal. And then when this is all done and verified it's working, I'm going to do a couple things under the hood. I'm just going to I ran the battery dead while working on the car doing the brakes last week, so I charged up the battery, which was brand new a few weeks ago anyway, and I've been running a spare battery in the car since then. So I'm going to swap the batteries back out. I have to replace a turn signal bulb, and it seems that only it seems that the horn isn't working correctly. I'm going to take a look at that too. But I'm probably only going to do video of the ignition lock cylinder today. So I'm going to put this on pause while I disconnect the battery and pull these covers off. Okay, video continued. This was actually pretty easy to figure out. Like I said, I took a look in the manual and it gave a pretty complex set of instructions for removing everything. But I also looked online and they said, you know, ignore what's in the manual. This is actually really easy. So this is the old ignition lock cylinder. I actually just a moment ago verified that it's easy to take out and put back in. So what you have to do is you have to actually stick the key in and turn it to the accessory position. That's ACC, that's the first one. And then you get yourself a pretty stiff metal pin. This here is actually well, it's not an old cotter pin. It's a brand new cotter pin, but I have sacrificed it for this purpose. Thankfully, they're cheap. This here, I straightened the whole thing out, and then I bent the tip there about maybe a little over a quarter inch, about 90 degrees. So put the key in, turn it to the first position there, accessory, and then probably easiest to show you this on the brand new ignition lock. You can see right here on this side there's this pin right here, and there's a recess in the rest of the lock housing. You have to get the pin, you have to get this pin in here to push on this pin here, the pin that's on the ignition lock. And once the key is turned and you press this, the whole thing should pop right out. So let's try that one more time. Getting the pin in here. You can't see the hole from where you are, but trust me, it is there. It's on the steering wheel side. And let's get that back in there. Okay, pushing. And the ignition lock cylinder pops right out. Real easy. So to get the new key here. I'm just assuming that I'm going to need the new key in the new ignition lock cylinder in order to put this in. May not be true, but I'm just going to take it out the same way I put it in. Okay, so key to the accessory position, if you can see it there. Line this up the same way as the old one. And it pops right in. So let's give this a try here. Okay, turns nice and smoothly. So I'm just going to very quickly reconnect the battery. Just take a second. I disconnected the battery. It's always really good to disconnect the battery when you're working around the steering wheel, because you don't want to do something wrong and then have the airbag go off in your face. That would suck. So give me just a second. I'll reconnect the battery and we'll give this a try. Okay, battery reconnected, and speaking of batteries, looks like my camera battery is almost out, so I'm going to make this quick. Key in the ignition. Clutch in. Key out. That was a successful repair. It went quickly, and hopefully now you can do it yourself. Of course, the one downside to this is now I'm going to have two different keys for the car, one for the doors, one for the ignition, but I can certainly live with that. And for what I saved on taking this to a mechanic, certainly something I can live with. So there you go. Have a good day.